And introduce our next guest.
Sure. No, it's exciting. As you said, episode 72. And we have Kenny Fekerman on our show today. He's a very interesting guy with a strong technology background. Right now, he's at IETEL, is an interesting AI company that does analytics, data analytics, and other interesting things. So, Kenny, welcome to the podcast, and please introduce yourself to our audience. You know your title at the company, and give us a little insight into your background. And thanks for joining.
Before you
Thank you
do
so
that,
much.
Kenny, I just want to remind you and our viewers that this is the official podcast of
Ah,
our
okay,
journal, Artificial Intelligence Surgery. So that's for you, Kenny, just to, so
No problem
that's how
at
you
all.
find me. That's how you found me, I know. So go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah. No problem at all. Thank you so much. Hello everyone. My name is Kenny Fekerman, and I'm really thrilled, to be with you to talk about, a subject that is truly changing, the future of, medicine, AI, and cyber, surgery, robots, and everything. Now, before, we dive in, I would like to talk to you a little bit, about, my journey. So basically, I grew up in France. So I'm French. I was born in Marseille,
Oh.
um, and I'm from Marseille, not from Paris at all. I support Marseille, not PSG at all.
I don't
uh,
blame you. Yeah.
yeah, I grew up in a military camp. My dad was a doctor. He was an anesthesiologist. So I traveled, all over the world with my dad. We lived, in Russia, in Africa, and then we went back, to Bordeaux. I decided, to do just like my dad. I went, to a military school, and then when I turned, 20, I joined, the French army. I was in the French Special Forces for a couple of years, which taught me, a lot of things about, discipline, precision, and the importance, of, trusting both people and technology when lives, are on the line.
Yeah.
From there, I've been injured, so I have, to go back, to the normal life. I went to the university. I studied, law, and I passed, the bar test at the first attempt, and I'm proud, to say that. But I was young and stupid. I dropped everything because I was in love. So I dropped everything, and my dad, he was really, angry.
Not
Uh,
pleased. Yeah.
yes, I left. I left France and I went back to United States, and I stayed, 5 years with my auntie in New York City. Then I came back to Paris. My girlfriend dropped me, by the way. That's life. and
Definitely.
uh, and I started to work for a company called, Stanley Security as an account manager. I was really focusing on, helping, government, on providing high security, technologies. Then I moved to another company called, Microsoft, where I learned, cybersecurity, and I really love, this role because I understood that I could help, companies, but startup on, protecting, their assets. In both roles, I was defending an organization against, some of the toughest, challenge of our digital age. But over the time, I realized something that, all, that expertise in security and reliability could be applied to an even, higher mission, protecting lives inside, the operating room. This is the why, I met, my best friend, my partners. He's not here today, but his name is Noyan. So he's the founder of ATL, company. And and we decided, to work, together to bring something, to build a technology that could, help, healthcare, and where our goal is to advance, AI powered, cyber surgery and connected care, system. So yeah, a bit
So,
about, my background and everything.
how do you spell that your company?
ATL, ATL, yeah.
ATL, ATL.
Yes,
And what is
yes,
does the A, T, and the L stand for something?
at all. I think, and maybe I need to ask, my partner, because, he's Turkish. Maybe, there is a meaning between, behind this, so yeah, I need to ask him definitely.
Yeah, it could be like the airport of Antalya or something like that. ATL. Who knows?
Maybe.
you know?
Maybe, yeah. So yeah,
Interesting.
so we decided, to work together and to bring this software, called the Datuxa, which help, the healthcare on tackling, for me, one big and critical, issues. So yeah, so we worked, for together for more than 2 years on this project, and we managed, to build something really strong,
So
and yeah, we
particularly, it is to protect patient data, or it is to protect, how does it help specifically?
so okay. Let me explain you what is the Datuxa technology. So Datuxa technology is a computer software that analyzes data with the support of artificial intelligence. It allows the user to analyze his own data with the artificial intelligence he creates on his own computer without writing any code. Datuxa allows user to perform artificial intelligence analysis by clicking just a few buttons without writing a single line of code. It provides data analysts with easy to use, effective industry leading tools. So you can create prediction about the future of income and cash flow if you are in the business and financial
How
industry.
does the data have to be formatted for the program to understand it? Can it be, PDFs? Can it be pictures? Does it all have to be electronic data, Excel
Yes.
files? What is it?
Yes, it could be, an Excel file, a PDF. What we need, we just need, to connect, our software into your data, and our solution is going to analyze, your data, and it's going to provide you within, seconds, what you're looking for. So basically, let's talk about, for example, the regression model for laboratory results for your scientific, study. So whatever work you do with data, Datusa will be your greatest assistant. With this powerful artificial intelligence, it will support and structure specially designed for data analysis studies. So you have to load your dataset into Datusa. Datusa will create your artificial intelligence model, train the artificial intelligence you have created, and then start analyzing the data with your own artificial intelligence. So thanks to the really powerful artificial intelligence creation with that, all settings of the artificial intelligence you create are under your own control. So you create as many artificial intelligences as you want to analyze the same data, set different setting for all of them, and then you can compare the analysis produced by the artificial intelligences you have created, and start using the one that best represents your data. So
Are you focused more on like helping doctors predict problems with their patients, or more like billing issues, or both?
so basically we do both, right? We are helping the doctor, for example, during surgery. We can embed our technology inside the blood analyzer, and in the same time we can provide you any prediction. We can tell you exactly if your patient is going to have a risk of, I don't know, a stroke or a blood clot. We can tell you within 10 seconds what's going to happen, and what the issue that's going on
But
during the
how do you create the model for that? Does the doctors have to give you that model, so what data points are needed to do that prediction? Or do you use like standardized, societies come up with models for how to do this. Do you use that, or is the AI able to create something on its own?
So both the AI can create things by its own. But before that, we train our AI to learn and to analyze different situation, right? So he's been trained to analyze any situation. So he's able to do the work or to adapt any situation, and to provide you the result at any time.
So so you have to look at retrospective data first, I imagine, to train the model. About
Yes.
how many about how many patients would you need to create a robust model? Just to give our listeners an idea. Is it like 100? Is it 200? Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000? Give us an idea of how many patients you need
I'm
to create something.
I think now the software is really to work. So basically, we don't have to train because he's been trained. We already work with a couple of hospital in Turkey and in France as well. So he's ready to work. So we just have to plug in into, as I said, a blood analyzer. And when you are doing any surgery, the data is going to be analyzed by the AI, and it's going to tell you exactly what's going on, what happened. It's going to provide you the prediction with 99% of accuracy.
But do you have something in the operating room that surgeons are using now while they operate?
So basically, what we have now, we have a technology that you could be embedded into the blood analyzer. But now we have the software that could be connected to any laboratory or any software or any laptop, where we can say to the AI, okay, I want you to analyze the blood test and to provide any prediction.
So this is the type of thing that would help the anesthesiologist more than the surgeon. The surgeon kind of needs things like anatomy, what's the next step of the procedure,
Mhm.
vascular anomalies or what have you. But it sounds like, obviously the surgeon also needs to know what's happening, what we say behind the drapes. Your father's is an anesthesiologist, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
So you know what I'm talking about. And that can be very
yes,
helpful if a patient's about to have a cardiac event, if a patient's about
exactly.
to have a pulmonary event or what have you. So that I can understand.
Yes.
And that is actually very cool. Do you have any videos of this that we could see, like of it being actually used in action? I mean, not now, but
Yes,
can you send us
if you want
something?
to, yes, I will send some video, regarding how does it work, and how you can choose between regression, prediction, and different variable, so you can have a really good result of the analysis that you're looking for. The good thing that I wanted to share with you as well is that Tuxa work off grid. The problem actually is data protection, right? So
Yeah, we
a
have to
lot of
talk
people,
about that next, actually. That's a big problem. Yeah.
so basically, Datuxa doesn't share your data with third party and institution. It does not upload data to website or the cloud. All your data analysis and work stays on your own computers.
And
You
this is
complete.
your program?
Yes, this is our technology. So basically, we don't need internet. We work offline, protecting your data. So this is I would say our revolution, because we are the only company that could provide such a solution, and we don't work with internet. So all your data stay in your own laptop, in your hospital, and it is totally safe and secure. Yeah.
Do you do any analysis of like radiology images, like CT
Uh,
scans, MRIs? Have you started that?
hmm,
Maybe I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm asking.
yes.
We have a project where we would like to, and when we have a tumor board, when we have a patient with cancer, we have a
Yes.
room. We have to have at least three different specialties in the room. We have to have at least, for example, three of these specialties. You need to have a pathologist, a medical oncologist, the person who gives the chemotherapy, a
Yes.
surgeon, a radiologist, maybe an interventional radiologist, things like this. You need to have at least three. And during those meetings, we look at CT scans, we see if the tumor is resectable, we look at pathology results, what type of cancer it is. We discuss, the treatment plan. But right now, we only look at a few data points because, you know, there's just too much data out there. What we would like to do is use
Mhm.
radiomics, which is actually, analyzing the tumor, looking at the voxels, like the 3D pixels of the image,
Yes.
because we have found that algorithms can understand things that the human brain can't even understand. Like looking at images, just you know, you know, uh, thousands and thousands of dots. Believe it or not, you can tell tumor biology. Then we want to do the same thing with pathology images, looking at the tumor, looking at the pixels, and then looking at the normal cells and seeing if we can get more information to help us decide, what to do with our patient because we don't want to just focus on can I remove the tumor?
Yes.
We want to have information like should I remove the tumor or should I just do chemotherapy or what have you. So if you have a way, because we're starting this project, we're starting to collect data, we're starting to collect lab data, right? Vital signs. So we have three kind of pillars in the that we're collecting right now. And it sounds like you've already accomplished the first pillar, right? You look at laboratory results, you're able to analyze vital signs, and you're able to, you know, uh, help with prediction of postoperative
Yes.
complications or maybe preoperative or intraoperative complications or what have you. It sounds like you've already have that. But if
Yes.
if you could also figure out how to interpret visual data
Yes.
or if I could put you into contact with people that can
Yes.
do that, it would be
Mhm.
very interesting for our project. This project is called Ergos, Artificial Intelligence, Radiomics, Genomics, Oncopathomics, and Surgeomics.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we want to add like the genetic information. We want to do whole genomic sequencing, but that's later because we need, this. And then
Uh,
later, we want to have intraoperative support for the surgeon. You should remove the tumor. You shouldn't remove the tumor. You should remove the liver metastasis at the same time. You shouldn't do it at the same something. That is obviously down the line. But what I love about your story is that you've solved pillar one from what it sounds
yes.
like.
Yes.
Ultimately, our first phase we want to have three pillars, but ultimately we're going to have, five pillars, and then it's just going to have more and more. But it's very interesting what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. What you're saying is it's funny because we had this conversation with my partners regarding how we can analyze any scan any images but actually our technology is really designed to be the surgeon or the anesthesiologist real time AI assistants inside the operating room and how it works is it reads and interprets live as I said the blood analyzes during any surgery or and then it cross references the results with patients history and surgical context because our system integrates seamlessly with OR and monitors, robotic systems, and lab software into a single AI powered dashboard. So then
Yeah.
it generates predictive alerts, for example, flagging clotting risks, bleeding risk, or organ stress before they become critical.
Yeah.
So I would say the next step here will be to combine images into our software and being able to to read any pictures any scan and being able to assist more surgeon doing any operation and after as well. Yeah.
Who is advising you from the medical point of view? Who's the doctor that's advising you?
I got my cousin. He's a surgeon as well.
Yeah.
So he's advising me. We had a lot of conversation regarding what we should do, how we should do. He's doing he's always in the block operating and when we talked to him about our product, he said, listen, you should start with making partnership with hospital using your technology. Maybe you can embed your technology into the blood analyzer.
Yeah.
So surgeon can have a quick answer regarding any complication or any future disease. So he said to me, getting what this is the first step. You have to make the partnership, and then
Yeah.
you have to develop your technology to the V2. If you could implement the images, that will be a really big asset.
Yeah.
And then you have to move to another steps. So we are working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, the first step here is to make a partnership with a couple of hospital and yeah, maybe as well raising some money and because we need to invest a lot of money on
Yeah, of course.
into a startup as well. Yeah.
So I want to talk about, how you solved data, patient data and things like that in a minute. But I know, Vincent, you must be salivating at hearing what he's doing. What do you think? Sounds like pretty interesting technology.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the Tukes analytics engine is very, very interesting. And then they have the Glist engine, I believe, right, Kenny, the environment for you to build applications. That seems to be the asset that comes from the Turkish side of the company. And so they have kind of two arms. They have the data analytics side, and then they have a platform side that they enable you without much coding on your own to build applications. So
Exactly.
that's very exciting to have both pieces. Can you talk a little bit about the Glist engine too, Kenny?
Yes. So you want to talk about the how you analyze, the data?
Yeah, I mean the Glist engine that you have, that you're using for building applications is the framework around your data analytics piece. But you know, they're both interesting, and I can see how they complement each other. It's very exciting.
Yes, so I will be more than happy to talk about this, but this bit is more my partner side because he's the
Ah, okay.
he created everything. So
Yeah.
I know, but I don't want
Well,
to say things that
okay. Yeah,
not
we'll
matching.
follow up. We'll have a follow-up call and
Yes,
talk to him.
Yeah.
It's really
exactly. Yeah,
exciting, Andrew. This is a cool company.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
no.
Thank you so
Very,
much.
very cool. So, I I deal a lot with this, and in America, in Europe, and we keep getting blocked by regulations, institutions worried about losing data, about patient data, and all this stuff, to the point where I've actually been able to make many more inroads outside of the European Union.
Mm,
Just because the European Union is just, and America, they're so afraid that we're not allowed to innovate. So it's just easier to go elsewhere, which is what I'm doing. But it sounds like you've solved that problem in France,
yes,
and other countries. And you told us how, is it kind of a federated system, I guess we would call this, or, where you
yes.
keep all the information in silos. But our problem for the Ergos project is ultimately we need to share this data, you know?
Mm,
And
mhm.
so I guess there's ways to do that, with technically the data being de-identified or staying still in the hospital and just being accessed through the cloud or what have you. You know, we have solutions, but having hospitals in the EU or in America that'll actually let you do anything with the data is the tricky part. And it sounds like you're still in this trap also, in the sense that you're able to work because each hospital has their own data, but it's not. But I guess once you train the model, you're able to
Mhm.
use that model in other countries. So
Yes.
if you can talk to us a little bit about that, and you're a lawyer, so this is actually going to be an interesting conversation I mean, particularly interesting conversation because we're blocked by the lawyers right now, and they are not cheap. So
No.
so do you have
You,
any
you,
insights for us on this topic?
basically, actually, because of the regulation, it's really difficult for a couple of companies using AI who try to analyze all the data within the hospital without sharing the data outside the hospital, right? So there is a strict regulation especially in France, but we manage to tackle this issue with our technology. So basically, our technology doesn't leave the hospital. So basically, we are able to let you sharing any data within the hospital. If, let's say, for example, you are working with other hospital, you are part of a group, you can share this data, but through or Datuxa, software intelligence. So I wasn't supposed to talk about it, but my partners said to me, we can't share this data through our software without sharing any data without going to the cloud. I don't know how, but he said to me, yes, it is possible, and we will be able to provide this solution within, I think, 6 months.
Well, that's great. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you built and tested the model in say, let's just say outside of the European Union, right?
Yes.
And then once you have something that works, you're able to take that
Yes.
because the company, because that country is has less strict regulations, and then you're able to
Exactly.
use it in France. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
that's what I was alluding to before, and it's a real shame that we have to do this innovation type thing outside of places like Europe, outside of places like America, and
Yeah.
it's a really bad time in history, I think. I really think like regulation is shooting us in the foot, because
Yeah.
we don't have these type of regulations in China. We don't have, I don't think we have the same regulations in Russia. And,
Mm.
you know, to their credit, because, if it's done intelligently, and I'm sure it is dealing with, with patient data, they're
Yeah.
going to be able to create things and make advancements, and Europe and America is going to fall behind.
Yes.
So yeah, and this is a perfect example. Here you are because you've created this thing in Turkey, and
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
thank God for places like Turkey.
Yeah, 100%. And what it means, for different, stakeholders. For example, for surgeons, it means that we provide them, clarity, reduce, stress, better precision. For hospital, we lower, the cost, shorter, surgery, fewer, ICU days. For the
Oh,
labs,
it's a win-win. No, I think you've been
exactly.
very clear about the benefits. There's no debate there.
Sure. No, thank you. Kenny, that was really exciting to listen to your story and the excellent products that you have at Yatial.
Yes.
So, Kenny Fekerman from Yatial, he's a lawyer, a special forces ex. He's an interesting guy in data security, and it's been a pleasure having you on our 72nd AI and Cybersurgery podcast.